Welcome to Mentoring with the Masters. My name is Jennifer Kuyrkendall. I am the Third Circuit Representative for the Young Lawyers Division Board of Governors. Today, we're honored to have Jamie Moses of Fisher Rushmer in Orlando here speaking with us about oral arguments. Jamie, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Great. First of all, what is your practice? If you could tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. I am a board-certified appellate specialist. I run the appellate department of my firm, but I also have a litigation practice. And so half of my practice is real estate litigation, and the other half is appellate practice.
Okay. Do you like oral arguments?
Yes, that is actually my favorite. Most appellate practitioners do not like oral argument. I actually love it. It is the most intense 20 minutes of any lawyer's career. I love the dialogue and the exchange with the court, and I find it completely enjoyable, even when it's tough. And I mean, I've been grilled before, but I really, really enjoy it.
How do you go about preparing for oral arguments?
Well, normally oral argument is months after the briefs have been done. So I start with rereading all of the briefs and all of the cases. I start all over, I read all of them again. And then I review the entire record on appeal. Prior to the oral argument, a member of my staff has put the record on appeal together with the corresponding pages to the record so that I can get to them as quickly as possible. By the time you get to oral argument and all the briefs have been written, you know what the issues are, and you can review the record in discrete areas to focus in on those issues. Then I start writing my argument. By the time I get to oral argument, I won't have a speech or a prepared presentation, but I will have in the back of my mind what points I want to hit, what points in the record, what case law I want to highlight and present to the court. But I go through the process of writing the argument and narrowing it down so that the day of the actual oral argument, I walk up with a piece of paper and that's it.
Do you find it necessary to moot court your appeals?
It depends on the size of the appeal. Yes, if it's a multi-million-dollar personal injury case, I might be able to actually do a full-blown moot court. If the economics do not support that, then I may ask trial counsel and an associate in my office to read the briefs and some of the case law and be prepared to grill me with questions. Trial counsel is valuable because they know the record better than anybody. The associate who doesn't know the case is more like the court who's reading the briefs just for the first time and sees only those as the important issues and the ones that the court is going to probably question me about.
What do you recommend for the argument itself?
My recommendations to a young lawyer is don't try to cram. I prepare for an oral argument anywhere from 2 to 5 days in advance, in stages, reading the briefs, reading the record, writing my argument. I actually do practice in front of a mirror, and I know that's odd 20 years later, but it's nice to see the expressions you make when you're making certain arguments. If you use your hands too much, which I am known to do, so I have a tendency to hold the podium. But I make sure that the night before I get a good night's sleep. It sounds funny, but the last thing you want to be is tired because you'll be completely off your game. And I just have sort of the same process. I get a good night's sleep, I get up in the morning, I practice my argument again, I make sure I have a good breakfast, and then I go give the argument. I get to the court early. There have been times when arguments will be called earlier than when they're scheduled, so you need to be prepared to go.
What is the best word of advice you can give to young lawyers about oral argument?
Sure. My mentoring partner once said to me, "You'll never win an appeal at oral argument, you can only lose it." And I think what she meant was your brief needs to be the spot where you make your point and where you try to win your case. You cannot wait till oral argument to save the day because A, you may not get oral argument, and B, you may never get to say what you want to say. The judges are in control of oral argument, not you. And so in her experience, and even in mine now, 20 years later, you can go to oral argument and say something that just absolutely loses your case for you, that if you had just relied on your briefs, you would have been fine. So that's what I try to remember. Don't expect that oral argument's going to be the time for you to shine and win it.
Okay, Jamie, that's all fantastic advice. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks.